nuclear. It's pronounced nuclear.
As I pointed out at the end of the last review, Nick.com does not have very high quality videos.
What happens when you smurge these two debonair studly Nick stars? Wow. Get in line, ladies.
How do I look?
But they also have plenty of games on there as well, most of them being SpongeBob games. In fact, they have so many, it's probably not even possible for me to be unable to find any. So I'm sure that if I go looking for a good game on there, nothing could possibly go wrong. The first game is Which One of SpongeBob's Teeth Are You? You know, I think I better take back what I said a few seconds ago. Before I forget, I'll be rating each game using a system I've developed called the Nickelodeon Flash Game Scale. A game can get one of these ratings: not so bad, marginally bad, bad, very bad, and ungodly bad. Either way, let's get going and see how bad these games are. So, Which One of SpongeBob's Teeth Are You is a quiz game where you learn which of SpongeBob's teeth you are most like. Are you more like SpongeBob's organized, intelligent right tooth or his free-spirited left tooth? Yes, this game is as stupid as it sounds. It's just a bunch of stupid questions with stupid answers, some of which aren't even real. I mean, if Smaragdin is your favorite color, then you're either incredibly dumb or just trying to sound smarter than you are. Besides, why the heck should I care which of SpongeBob's teeth I'm most like? I doubt that knowledge is ever going to be useful in my life, so what's the point of this game? I'll tell you what the point is. Nickelodeon just wanted to be more popular by exploiting popular trends. This one gets a rating of very bad. So I know that quizzes aren't the most exciting thing out there. Unfortunately, half the games on this site are quizzes, so let's do another quiz. This one is known as Which Patrick Are You? Yeah, I bet you thought there was only one Patrick, right? Well, you're leaving out some vital SpongeBob characters like the classic Surprised Patrick. Yeah, that's right. I'm the most surprised sea star in Bikini Bottom. All of my friends are always telling me that. This one is more of the same. Nickelodeon threw a bunch of Photoshop pictures on the screen and asked you to pick a few. The game then randomly matches these pictures up to some weird alternate version of Patrick, and there's your answer. Once again, this knowledge is useless in the real world, and since the most important part of any Flash game is real-world knowledge, this game falls flat on its face. Also, just like the last one, apparently this game was so good it didn't even need music, meaning you have to deal with an awkward silence while playing this game. Overall, this game is another very bad. Alright, let's play one of the few actual games this site has to offer, rip-off games, starting with Plankton Pong. Now, if this was just Pong with SpongeBob-related PNGs slapped on the sprites, that would be one thing. But that isn't enough for this game, it has to be a glitch-filled mess as well. I mean, look at this. The ball literally went right through her paddle thing. And that isn't just one time, it happened multiple times as I played the game. The loud and obnoxious music doesn't exactly help this game's case either. And it's not like it adds anything to Pong either, it's just Pong with a SpongeBob theme, and it isn't even functional. This one is definitely getting an ungodly bad. Remember how in the last video I talked about how everyone hates a pal for Gary? Well, Nickelodeon apparently knew this, so they remedied this problem in the best way they possibly could. They made a Flash game about it! This is Gary's Revenge, a clone of Angry Birds. Yeah, Gary's master plan is to launch the shells of dead snails at forts the Puffy Fluffies constructed. This raises two major questions. Why did the Puffy Fluffies construct elaborate forts when they were clearly incredibly offensive in the actual episode? And why is Gary committing genocide against their entire race when only one of them wronged him? The levels aren't too badly designed, and it really isn't as lazy as the other two games, since it actually functions, but it's still just another Angry Birds clone, so I'm giving it a bad. But I get the feeling that something is missing from all of these games. Something big, something important. Some people might say it's quality, but they're wrong. It is cinematography. Enter SpongeBob SquarePants Monster Island, the SpongeBob Flash game that tries way too hard to be a B-movie as well. In this game, you go on a super intense and epic journey to rescue Patrick from a completely random and unnamed monster. You have to endure incredibly boring minigames in order to do so, such as aimlessly running away from a monster, aimlessly riding a monster through the jungle, aimlessly riding a monster through the river, aimlessly climbing a monster up a mountain, and aimlessly running from a wall while flying on a weird-looking monster. Your overall goal is to save Patrick, but these minigames can literally go on forever if you don't lose them. There isn't a goal to any of these, they're just incredibly bland minigames that have a bad monster movie for a set piece. The problem with this game is that its two components cancel each other out. It's not a monster movie because the minigames go on forever. There is no ending to this game, just endless bland minigames. And since the story is pointless, there isn't a point to playing these bland minigames. Because both the movie part and the game part lack any real substance, this one is also getting a very bad. Alright, I know I said that I would stop doing quizzes, but this one actually falls into the category of being a rip-off game and a quiz. This is Are You Smarter Than Patrick Star? And it was apparently a nominee for the best game of 2015. That could be a compliment, but this was chosen by fans of modern SpongeBob, so don't get your hopes up. Surprisingly, this is a ripoff of the Impossible Quiz. You know, that Flash game that was funny the first time you saw someone play it, before it devolved into watching every single YouTuber pretend to get angry while taking this overplayed quiz. Somehow, this is even worse. I mean, look at this question. 3 of the answers mean the same thing, and yet this is the only right one. Sure, some of the answers are clever, but this is just a mess. Most of it is just random quotes from the show you need to complete. Sometimes circled answers are correct, sometimes they aren't, and sometimes they just slap a bunch of things on the screen and randomly decide that one of them is the right one. They literally ask you the same question twice, and yet the answer is different the second time. I didn't think it could be done, but they actually made the Impossible Quiz, a game that is meant to be incredibly stupid, even stupider. And what even is this question? One of the answers is eyes, one of the answers is forks, and yet the teeth is the right one? Why is this even allowed to be a game? Yeah, this one is getting an ungodly bad, since they didn't even have the decency to make it long. I mean, the original Impossible Quiz is apparently 110 questions long, and yet this one is only 25? Really? At this point, I was thinking about ending the video now. I didn't play too many games, but they were all awful or rip-offs, so why should I keep playing? I decided to play one more game simply because the sprite work looked pretty good. And yet, I was actually surprised by this game. It's called Land Ho, and it's basically an auto-runner game. You automatically run through the level, collecting Krabby Patties to unlock Patrick or Sandy, who do nothing from the first character you unlock, which is SpongeBob. But the game actually has a pretty cool mechanic, where when you jump, you actually flip to the other side of the ground. It's hard to explain, but as you can see here, you go underwater when you hit space, and you go back above ground when you hit it again. It's a surprisingly good mechanic, and the game has some surprisingly catchy music. As well as the aforementioned good sprite work. Sure, the unlockable characters do nothing, and the randomly generated obstacles can sometimes be cheap, but I was surprised by how not bad this game was. So overall, this game gets a not so bad. You know what? This has actually inspired me. I bet I could play at least a few more games. I mean, these Flash games aren't really that bad, so what can I lose? The next game is called Slammin' Sluggers, and it's a baseball game. Well then, let's get right into it. Well, 10 out of 10. Best game yet, 43 stars. So obviously, Nickelodeon games aren't the most polished things in the world. They're really just lazily made distractions to entertain kids who are deprived of real games. And yet, I can clearly remember playing some of these games when I was younger. I know I actually have played that baseball game in the past, and I saw some other games that I had played and enjoyed when I was younger as well, while I was browsing the site for games to show. In fact, I can clearly remember a level creation game and an animation creation game being on the site, and I played the heck out of those games when I was younger. So while I'm not going back on my word and saying these are good games, I know I'm not the target audience for these games. And these games are free, so what can you really expect? So overall, I don't hate any of these games. I just have better ways to use my time now that I'm older. But I will say one thing. While this experience has made me less harsh on the free online flash games in the SpongeBob universe, I'm pretty sure I just hate the bad SpongeBob games that do cost money even more now. Hey there, thanks for watching until the end of the final video of SpongeBob Month. If you want to see more content from SpongeBob Month, you can click to the left to see my review of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie video game for the PC. Or if you want to see a more popular video, you can click to the right to see my friend Nintendo's review of the Season 10 premiere of The Fairly OddParents. Whichever one you pick, you can always subscribe to my channel as well by clicking on the link below that is disguised as a red subscribe button. Either way, thanks for watching this video, and I hope to see you on more of my videos.